Hi, welcome to the fifth week of the process mining course. In this week, we will dig deeper into some of the capabilities of the process mining. We will deal with conformance checking and variant analysis. We will define the rule-based conformance checking and explain it in details. We will also explain the model-based conformance checking and exception analysis. The other part of the lecture is going to be about variant analysis, how to compare the performance of both the conformant and non-conformant cases in the event log. This lecture is composed of 4 videos. The first one is introducing the conformance checking and main guidelines. The second video is explaining the rule-based conformance checking in details with practical examples. The third video is about model-based conformance checking and exception analysis. And the fourth video is how to use variant analysis to compare the performance of the conformant and non-conformant cases of the event log. Let's start. In this lecture, we focus mainly on the conformance checking and the variant analysis. So we will perform a conformance checking where we find cases which conformant of your regulation inside the organization, or other cases that are like they don't go along with the model that you have already designed since the beginning in your organization. And after that, we perform variant analysis to compare the differences in performance of both the conformant and non-conformant cases. So, a typical workflow of the process mining analysis starts with an automated process discovery, as explained before, where you discover the process that already exists in your event log. That process is the reality, that what has happened already in your organization. It can be different from what you were expecting before executing the process. So, based on that automated process discovery, you start have different goals of your project. For example, you can aim for compliance checking to find the undesired variation inside your process. So you go with compliance checking, and that goes with the conformance checking. And after that, you compare the differences based on the performance metrics between the conformant and non-conformant cases. That kind of example exists in governmental organization, where you have specific rules for the organization. Also, it's the same happens inside banks systems. On the other hand, performance mining goes for processes that has a direct interaction with a customer. Mainly if you aim for more customer satisfaction in your organization, you go after performance mining, and after that you can compare between different locations, different branches of your organization. That's what we will deal in the next week 6 of the course. So, conformance checking is you have already an event log about a process that you have already executed in your organization, and you have a set of rules or guidelines inside the organization of how to execute these processes, or you have already a PPM model, a process model that you have designed for your process. You assume that you should follow that process model, and you want to compare the reality against the model that you already designed or against your business rules. In order to do that, we will define 3 types of conformance checking. Rule-based conformance checking, where you have different rules inside your organization and you want to find the cases that are not conformant with these rules. The second type of the conformance checking, given an event log, which is a reality, and the process model that you have already designed since the beginning, how far is the event log is conformant with the process model that you have. The third type of conformance checking is about exceptional behavior, where you discover the anomalous behavior inside your organization. We will dig deeper into details for the next 3 videos into that. Rule-based conformance checking can be divided into 3 types of constraints. The first one is flow constraint, where you decide which kind of activities follows which other activities. For example, we will see later that we need to make sure that activities like repair simple or complex inside the repair example event log should be followed by a test activity. That's a flow constraint. Another type of constraint is SLA constraint or temporal constraints, which depends on the service level agreement that you have with your customer. Sometimes you have this kind of rule or requirement that activity A follows activity B after 30 minutes, like the time elapsed between two activities is 30 minutes, or another temporal constraint may be like the customer should be served within a week. That's a rule from the organization, and you need to check the conformant cases with that and non-conformant cases with that. Another constraint is a resource constraint, when you focus on who should execute a certain activity, who should have the privilege of executing an activity inside the organization, or the handoffs between the activities. What type of resources should exist there? We will dig deeper into details in the next video about that. The conformance checking levels, we will go after the flow, the process flow, where we focus on the activities following each other. The temporal, which focus on the execution time or the waiting time between activities inside the event log. The resource, it depends on the people who are executing the activities, and the exception where you detect the anomaly inside your event log. As a procedure, as a proposed procedure, first we need to define the rules, the compliance rules that you have inside the organization. Mainly they are documented into the process documentations that you have around your organization. And then we take these rules and make filters with a promore in order to filter out or single out the cases that are not compliant with these rules. And then we can dig deeper and highlight the non-compliance issues that you have in these cases, and we will measure the impact on the performance, the process performance using variant analysis. That's what we propose in order to perform conformance checking for your organization. A template for the conformance checking is shown here. We have the what tasks that you need to achieve and how to achieve them. We will dig deeper into details of every specific task for the next 3 videos. The first thing that you need to check inside your event log is the flow compliance checking, which first you start with checking the mandatory activities. For example, you may need to make sure that every patient inside the event log has registered on the reception desk, for example. That's a mandatory activity. Or sometimes you need to check for repetitions. Does a case have any kind of a repetition of activities inside your event log? And also there is a temporal compliance checking, where you check the time constraint. Basically, it's based on the performance of activities and the waiting times between two activities. The resource compliance and other types of conformance checking analysis, we will cover them in the next 3 videos. So in this slide here, you can just have it as a checklist when you start performing conformance checking in your organization, and we will dig into every step in details later. This is like what to do, and this is how to do. In the next video, we will start with rule-based conformance checking.